I don't know. I don't know how many um, high level research people are going to get their emails. I have gotten mailer demons every day, and some of the emails Yahoo tries like for a certain length of time. So some of the mailer demons I got today are from email I sent like 5 days ago. So um, I don't know who has which files anymore because I send pieces to different researchers. And people who do receive it might be asking, why is this woman sending these 3 PDFs to that guy, but these 2 completely different PDFs to this department and 2 completely different PDFs to the other department? If they all discuss this amongst themselves, um, they may discover they got different files. And up front, for total transparency, they got different things because I thought it would be very daunting to be an educator at a college and you have 100 students at your lecture. You have to prepare your lecture. You have to correct any work they do. And now you have, boom, 1,000 pages of homework assigned to you from a citizen. I just thought that might be a little overwhelming. So I thought, okay, I am not going to give 1,000 pages to one person and hope that they can read it all overnight. Instead, I will just give tiny pieces of the puzzle to 90 different colleges. And at some point, maybe they will call each other and it will be up to them. It is not up to me. I can't tell you how to help a different client. I'm a client of Gemini because I use Gemini, but I'm also a client of mental health. But like 20% of Americans have mental illness. So at least 70% of Americans have a computer. So I'm playing the odds here that I'm not the only one this might apply to. Um, one thing that I want to put up front is there is a real answer that I previously only sent to Gemini in the feedback tab. There is a feedback thing where you can make suggestions to Gemini people. I did not realize humans don't see those. I found out later. In one of my songs on YouTube, I specifically mentioned that I sent it to feedback so they would see it first. But I later checked incognito. That's when you press Control and Shift and the letter N, and you get a different browser. The incognito browser was intended so husband can buy diamond bracelet for wife and wife is not able to search his history and find out she has a surprise for Christmas. But the incognito Gemini was my other person to ask. Not person, that's a bad word in this context, but relatively, if your friend Sarah told you a lie, you could go ask your friend Allison if it was true, that kind of thing, which I've been doing since the 70s. So this is not a new concept that I invented this year. It is just, when I was 7 in the 1970s, if somebody told you that babies come from swallowing watermelon seeds and that's a watermelon growing in that lady's belly, you know, you would just go ask someone else. This is, this is my someone else, this incognito Gemini. Anyway, the incognito told me that a lot of times the feedback is not seen by a human at the Gemini feedback thing. So I wanted to offer you what that song was discussing. I'm going to give you the song link. This is going to California, I think, because California has the most comprehensive information, only because Dr. Prita has access to other researchers that I don't. I don't have other great minds to discuss this with. So, I need to, offer what I can. But the thing is, the answer that I sent to Google is that it is not the Gemini that makes the person using Gemini crazy. Okay? You would need to already be psychotic. And I'll explain this. I have several songs about this, which I sent to Dr. Luo. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. There is a Dr. Luo at this California college I sent several songs to. But just in case those come back mailer demon, I'm going to send this one to Dr. Prita so the same college gets similar information. It's not the same link, obviously, but the same context. Um, if you use a calculator and it tells you that you had your income minus rent minus whatever, and your end result is 7 decimal points. If you already believe the calculator is a human, and therefore the 7 decimal points is the correct answer, because the calculator is human and your friend and trustworthy, that means you're psychotic already. So I have multiple songs about this where one cannot look upon Gemini as a human. And I'm only using Gemini name as an AI because that's the AI that I used. But the same would apply to ChatGPT or any of the others. One cannot truly believe that that is a human. Okay? In the human world, if I have a toothache, I do not ask the car mechanic what to do about the tooth pain. I ask the dentist, you see. So it is not correct to go to Gemini and say, "Dear Gemini, I'm in love with my neighbor. What should I do?" Using it that way is user error, using the product in a manner it was not intended. I don't think people need to sue Google if you use the product incorrectly and had a bad result. You don't buy a banana and hit it with a tennis racket and then sue the banana farmer because it didn't act like a tennis ball. A banana is never a tennis ball. And a Gemini is never a life coach. It's never a friend. It's never a human. And if you go to Gemini yourself and ask Gemini for the definition of Gemini, it doesn't claim to be human in the first place. And it never claims to be a friend. So I think that they've got their built-in disclaimer in the very beginning when you just ask, it's my first time using Gemini. What is this? So using a product in a manner it's not intended should be on the shoulder of the person using it. You see what I'm saying? Now, a good reason to use Gemini is if you're studying a book called Moby Dick, and your teacher says, write a book report about this. If you write the book report and you're not sure if your commas and your periods are in the right place, you can copy paste out of your document into Gemini and ask it to make sure that it's spelled right and all of this. It does know how to do that, but it is not going to tell you what to do for tooth pain because it never had a tooth. It is not going to tell you what does an apple pie taste like. If you ask it, gee, I have anxiety. My mom wants me to order dessert at the restaurant tonight. I don't know what to order. Gemini can Google a recipe, but it's not going to tell you that tiramisu is so strong you'll fall out of your chair. An apple pie is not strong and you're not going to fall out of your chair. It doesn't have the actual experience. If you want to know which dessert to order, ask your best friend. The sad thing here is that some people don't have a best friend. This is what's sad. Very lonely people who never had a friend in the first place can look at a calculator and say, this calculator is my friend. And I call this avacado disease in my first book, Headlights on the Ceiling. Is when you see patterns somewhere that are not really there. And avocado is the wrong word, but I never remember the right word. This is why I did writing instead of speaking. I couldn't go to Harvard and tell people that avocado disease is why we have AI psychosis. I knew Harvard people would know what a real avocado is, and I would be laughed out of the stadium. For people who study psychology and understand this, it is when a client who's schizophrenic says, there are 8 planets in the solar system, and I live at number 8 North Main Street, and my sister is the 8th person who married John, so therefore 8 is a magic number. Okay? Looking at a calculator and saying, it is a friend, it is trustworthy, it cares about me, that is the same thing as the symptom I just described, which also starts with A, but I am not a psychology major. I am only a very observant person.